Counselor Gwynn,
Here.
Counselor Forgy,
Here.
Counselor Elmer,
Here.
Counselor Bullock,
Here.
Counselor Disorder.
Here.
All right, we are all here. President's notes. Update on governing entity with the authority to approve the Community Preservation Committee expenditures. Any thoughts? What part are we on with this, Kathy? We received the process, which seemed to be universal, what other municipalities use.
Yeah.
So that doesn't seem to be needing any further discussion. And then approval of Community Preservation Committee FY budget process. That's what we were talking about.
So the mayor, correct me if I'm not accurate, but the process was going to go to A&O for review to make sure that it was in line with how the council wanted to proceed.
Okay, if you're asking me, I think I turned it over to you folks to process,
Okay.
to deal with it as you might want to do. And that's where you're at tonight, I think. I think you have a little time, although I did see an email come through
I saw
from Christian, but I didn't open it to read it with an update on where they're at. You just need to have a process in place so that when it comes time for the council to review and approve their expenditures, if you follow that graph, or well, not graph, the graphic, you know, the steps, the multicolored one, it should go to Ways and Means. So I think the sooner you vote as a council to adopt that process for the CPA, even if you just did it for this year to see how it works, I think that would be my suggestion, the better. But if you think it needs to go to A&O first, you know, that's up to you.
Yeah.
well, no, I think we're fine. Let's send it to Ways and Means, and they can approve the process. It's very financial. We did receive an email today from the committee with the proposed expenditures today. So let's send that to Ways and Means to just, Councilor Disorder, what we're looking for is to make sure the process that we've adopted from the state and other municipalities is appropriate way to process, if there's any concerns. I looked at it. I want to be open to make sure everyone gets a chance to look at it, but it's just the vehicle to get us to the thing. We still have another approval process after that. This is just to approve the process, not to approve the expenditures.
I don't see a letter from them today.
Recently?
Christian, I believe it was, well,
It might not have gone out to all kinds.
Maybe it didn't go out to
I don't
everybody's
think it
list.
went to counselors.
Because it said stuff like, Highland Pond, Elmer, things like
I've
that.
got to recuse myself from everything.
I have seen that.
No, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I saw some of it. So I will get back to you because that was, I think, this afternoon. So we're okay on that. Community Relations Committee presentation on police reform with David Lanoy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to change that date because I do have a family situation that I have to deal with, and I will be coming back that evening on the 20th, very late. So my plan is if I've already asked David Lanoy about, I've emailed him with another date. It could either be the 21st, which is a Tuesday, or it could be the following Monday, which is the 27th. So I guess I would like to ask if Tammy could extend a formal invitation for him to attend with either one of those two dates, depending on whether this room is available.
I have no problem. Why don't you work that out? We'll go.
Okay.
There.
What time would it be?
It would probably be 6:30.
Are you talking March 20th or 27th?
March, yes. It was either it was originally scheduled for March the 20th. I can't make that meeting, can't chair that meeting. So it would have to be the 21st or the 27th.
Okay.
And this was,
That's this meeting. I'm just looking at this meeting. Okay.
Yeah,
and this is on police reform in general, not specifically as it
correct.
pertains to
Yeah,
us.
I asked him, he is very credentialed. And since we're looking for knowledge, I think it would just be a really good idea to have him give us an overview. He's an attorney and always has, and teaches and worked through 7 sheriffs and everything else.
And it's good, information's good. So let's start there and work out the dates. Okay. Appointments, we'll go to you for,
I can't open my email here.
oh, you have zoning, you have a zoning board appointment and so that just goes to your.
I think it was just zoning board and then it's the section about public safety committee, right?
That will come up after, I think, if it's on here. But right now,
Yes.
on my notes, so mayor's appointments go to A&O. Invite Community and Economic Development Director MJ Adams to discuss the downtown revitalization plan. And we can do that in March.
So
as
at the
requested.
council meeting.
Yep. Now, Councilor DeSorger has 19 first readings, maybe 20 here.
Yeah,
Are you okay with those? There's not a lot we can say no, but she's got.
No, it's fine.
You have a page and a half of,
She
Yes.
loves this stuff.
you have a page and a half of first readings and we'll hear you loud and clear. So we're good. All right, that brings us to the committees. EDC regular meeting, the 14th.
Yeah, I tried to talk to Eric Torg to see where we are in this public way process. Because we've already seen this once and then it went back to planning board.
So as part of the requirements to accept a public way, the EDC has to hold a public hearing, and that's what is scheduled for March 14th.
And that will be put in the paper and all that stuff.
It's already been done.
Okay.
Abutters have been mailed as required by certified mail.
Maybe we can get Eric to come with the graphics.
Do you want to invite him?
Yeah,
Is it okay with you if he attends virtually?
Sure.
Or, okay.
really what I'd like is something to show the public so they can see what we're talking about.
That's precinct 2. That's my precinct, Verde. Yeah, isn't that? Precinct 1. Oh, that's further over. That's.
Yeah, if I may, when it goes through the process,
It's right at the end of that controversial land where they were going to put.
Country.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just like a little extension.
It's that country club.
acres.
They drove me through there on my
in Santa
drive
Ana,
by
Kathy
of
was
the
saying,
land.
second part of the process is there's a list of conditions. It's inspected by the DPW, meet all the standards, and now it goes back through the process.
Do you wish to be at that public hearing?
I cannot, that
Okay.
establishment is owned by and built by my own, I recluse myself,
Okay.
as I have for everything.
I just thought I would asking you so Phil, you'll be fine with that. Okay. Appointments and ordinances, mayor's appointments and amendment of the Public Safety Commission update.
Yep.
Is that all good? Anything else?
Yeah, so that one's just a discussion, right? So we don't have, there's no
Yep.
motions.
No motion.
Okay, so we're gonna, are you able to come tomorrow? You know,
Tomorrow,
it's tomorrow.
sorry.
It's okay if you can't.
Is, what time?
5:30.
On Zoom?
You can be on Zoom.
Okay, yes, I
It's
can.
live.
It's live, but
My hope is I want to go to school committee, so this will be the last A&O meeting that's at this time and date.
okay,
I'm gonna change it for next month, so my hope is to breeze through the appointment and give like 20 minutes to talk about this and then wrap it up.
I can do that. Happy to do that.
CRC, you have a meeting scheduled for the 20th, which you're going to change.
Right. Date to be determined.
Okay, and your discussion is the presentation on police reform with David Lanoy. We talked about that.
Give us an overview.
Okay, fine. Ways and Means, March 13th, Councilor DeSorger, appropriation of 200,000. Approved the payment of the business system, transfer funds. Those are your agenda items. No, and we know we just sent you 8,000 first readings, right? Discussion items, are these all still appropriate? Is there?
Diana Schindler has her hand raised. So I'm wondering if she has a Ways and Means thing.
Well, I wanted to, I know Marlo's trying to also get your attention. We did want to discuss the 200 for the lead pipe inventory. So Marlo, did you want to explain what's happening?
Yeah, I haven't been able to get to you and the mayor because I was actually on the phone getting the rest of the information on the way into this meeting, so.
Let me just say, if we could have the crib notes, because anything you really need to explain, I'd rather it happen at Ways and Means, but if you want to tell us.
I'm gonna ask you to remove this.
Then we need to hear it.
So as of yesterday, the Clean Water Trust took a revote. This was originally a loan, 100% loan forgiveness. So being we had to take out a loan and show that we would pay the 200,000 to apply for the loan as part of the paperwork. We changed it to a grant yesterday. They voted it to a grant. We no longer need funding earmarked. The grant is repaid back to the city if we get it, paid back monthly. So we don't need to earmark any money. We don't need to lock up any of our money. Worst case scenario, if we don't get the grant, which we have a very good chance because the application's ready to go, we would have to fund the project because it's the law by October of 24. We have to have an inventory and a plan to remove all lead in our system. That's the short story.
All right. Two things. One is the mayor will have to
Yes.
put a formal request to rescind this. And do you want to drop it then from your discussion? I mean, okay. Diana, was there anything else you mentioned on this?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Sure. Marlo, anything else on that? At this time?
No, it's a straight up grant. I'll be working with the mayor on the paperwork.
Perfect. If we can just have her do a formal rescind, we'll be in control.
problem.
Okay. The payment for Connecticut Business System, no discussion. Okay. Discussion items, scheduling for 2024 budget. You'll be all over that, I'm guessing.
Well, actually, I just want to say right now, but we have this paper out in front of us.
You're the only one that has that.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
going to have
that's
that.
just me giving that to you.
Okay, last year we had capital meetings the end of April. And where it says on this 6 PM, what is that, community preservation? So what is that up here? Is that meeting in this room is my question.
On the 20th?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Huh?
Does that mean?
That's community relations. So it's not going to happen on that night. It may happen on the 21st or the 27th, but we don't know that yet. So that's not community preservation, that's community relations committee.
Okay, so I just wanted to say before we're all together that we'll be trying to schedule here, probably 2 capital meetings. Maybe we could do them. I don't know if the people are going to want to come twice in a week, but we'll need one probably the week of the 27th and maybe the week prior to that. It's going to be 2 nights for capital. So, okay. And then there's a deliberation night.
And you'll put that together on your meetings. You don't have to tell us tonight. You'll be working on that schedule.
No.
And that'll be on the calendar.
Yes, but it's I think it's the availability of this room.
Yeah, I would coordinate that with Kathy and.
Okay, got it.
Just pick the dates that work for all of you and then get us notified to make sure we're following what your committee needs.
Okay,
FY 23 police budget, that's going to be on your discussion at this
right.
meeting.
Chris had brought that up before, and I think we got all of the information.
Okay. Plan for distribution of opioid settlement money. Is that gonna?
Yeah, that was a question that came up, so I'd like that on.
Okay.
The DLS could wait. Well, we don't have, we could have a discussion on
These
this.
are discussion items,
That's
no
fine.
motions.
Yeah, we can leave that.
But, and you can choose that night not to discuss them also, except if it's going to be something people tune in for. I like people to say we're not going to cover that, so you don't have someone sitting all night. The lead service, looks like that can leave.
Yeah.
In discussion. Home rule petition for reimbursement of schools, city for money spent regarding the education and care of foster children. That's something happening?
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, where does that come?
That's the legislation that was talked about at the last meeting.
Yeah,
That's legislation state. Is that state?
that's right.
Legislation at this point. Is that something that will need discussion, or is that?
I would think that you could move that
I
to
think-
your April meeting.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
In-depth examination of the current police department budget, wouldn't that be
It's the same thing.
the same as
should just-
FY '23?
So we can leave the FY '23 budget and take off the in-depth
Yes.
off.
Community Preservation Fund reserves.
Yeah, I don't have any information on that.
So we skipped over appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
116,000 plus for water retained.
Earnings.
Yeah.
Is that something that will be up for discussion?
It's first reading, isn't it?
And looking.
First reading, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, first reading.
I think these CP are all these reserves.
So
These are all first
the
readings.
Community Preservation Fund reserves, the 4 bullets are all first readings.
Yep. And that's on the other paper. Those are all first
Yep.
readings.
And then the capital FY '24 are all first readings.
And that's it.
Yeah.
City clerk report?
Nothing. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
still working on getting the election together, election dates, reserving the school. My office is going to be moving to the old clerk's office.
Oh,
Hopefully I'll move in there within the next week or so,
Where's the old?
where the energy department used to be.
when you come.
Where's
Yeah.
Carol going?
Carol is up here on the second floor
All
now.
right.
Quinn will eventually be moving in there, but not right now. The transition has been delayed a little bit, but we're gonna get it moving.
Good.
So you and Quinn will be over.
Eventually.
Oh.
I'll be over there sooner than Quinn will.
Nice.
But eventually Quinn will move there with me, and Tammy and Kat will be in the main office when you enter in. So the admins are the first people you hit.
Okay.
All right. Draft of city council meeting, MJ Adams, we said yes. We can drop the item 2, which is the lead. That's going to be taken on, the transfers, the mayor's appointments, all those first readings.
Bring water, Jenny, you'll need to sip.
And that's it. Any other business that we need to discuss tonight? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
No, sorry.
All right, good.
Oh, geez.
That happened so quickly. I looked at one text message and it was over. No, there's other things. We were gonna check in about the request form, how that process is going for people.
Well, it's a little clunky.
I looked at it.
So I was under the impression, and I think Tammy was also, that when a request is received, that we would be able to forward out that form to a department head. And I'm pointing at Marlo just because it happened last Friday.
Yeah.
Which we're not able to forward that form, but we're able to forward the Excel
The
spreadsheet.
whole spreadsheet.
Right.
So unless, the only other option we have, I talked to Tammy yesterday, I think. The other option we have is that we could make a request form for each department and I could have like one form that's a landing page. And then it's like, if you're requesting from the executive office, from the DPW, from the police department, from the fire department, from blah, 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 blah. Everyone would have their own request form. And then department heads would only be able to see the Excel sheet for their request form. We could do that. It really would only be a heavy lift for me to create the document. And then once it's set up, but it's the same thing that department heads would just get to see the Excel spreadsheet for their department, so they wouldn't see all the other requests on that Excel sheet. So it might be easier for department heads. And we could set it up so that when a request comes into that department, like Tammy has it set up so that she gets an email anytime a request hits that form. We could set it up so that department heads get an email anytime a request hits the form for their department.
That would be good. I mean, that,
Okay.
anything that alerts anybody that has tons of emails.
We don't have to make a decision tonight. We can talk about it more, but it's an option.
So I think I would like to have Tammy in the conversation because, as I've said before, Tammy's the one that does this.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think right now, I know it's not
Should be contained.
checking off the boxes for her.
Yeah.
I expect that there will be. Diana, do you have your hand up?
I do. I'd like to comment
Okay.
on this if I could.
Okay. Is it okay if I finish just for this? For a
Absolutely.
moment? Okay. So I don't think it's checking all the boxes for us. I know that there's always a learning curve and we do something new. And that's why I was hoping that we could make it through March until we decided to change things up. But it's obviously not working the way it is for the office at
Okay.
least.
So Mary Ann will have a discussion with Tammy.
Yeah, I'm happy to meet with Tammy and we can talk about like, what are the pain points for her?
And what boxes aren't being checked.
Yeah. And what aren't being checked for her. And then Diana, I'd like to hear her feedback
Right.
too.
I just wanted to mention that, I mean, I haven't been able to access the form to actually see it, but the issue really from my perspective when I'm responding is there's also a timing issue of getting the materials to the council through the committee chairs and through sometimes Ways and Means. So if I'm getting requests from counselors at different times, like through this form, which seems expedient, we just still need to understand, like, when are the items due as far as if they are going to then get onto a council meeting of some sort or a subcommittee meeting, I guess. And I've mentioned that to Kathy a couple times because there's, it especially for me when I'm putting together, 20 orders at this time of year, and again, I kind of need to know when the materials need to get into the council to be timely. Thank you.
Yeah, so it might work better if we did the idea I just said, where each department has their own form. Because the request form does have, one, it says to please give 10 days lead time, so department heads have 10 days. But there's also a due date that will populate in the spreadsheet that you receive with the request. So you'll see when the counselor requesting that information is requesting that information to be received and for what reason, like it's requested to be done quickly because of council meeting on the 15th or whatever the thing is. So I'll talk to Tammy and figure out if there's a way to make it easier for her. And she'll just have to weigh, is it going to be better for her to manage like however many departments we have in the city, that many forms versus one form that every department sees?
Jenny?
So
I think I'm probably the one, again, that has used this form already the most. But as you know, I always have lots of questions, but I found, and my question with this thing is, sometimes you're not exactly sure who's going to have the answers to whatever it is. I found on the Montague website, they had an Excel spreadsheet with all the vehicles, with the VIN numbers, when the car was purchased, how old it was, what type of a car it was, just a little tiny spreadsheet, a make, model, age, miles, and condition. Because we're looking at buying a lot of new vehicles. And I wasn't sure, somebody told me that Paul Newell had that. And that's why something went into
So I think
him.
it should be dispersed through the department head. I can disseminate
Okay,
it to the
so,
department head.
yeah, and I didn't,
Because I have a lot of that information.
I didn't know that. I thought.
Oh, it's okay.
Somebody said that to me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, any request, in my opinion,
Okay.
should go to
Okay.
the department head, regardless of who has the information. Should go to the department head, because regardless of who we think has the information,
Okay.
it should go to the department head to be dispersed properly, not properly, but what if Paul's on vacation? What if, you know, right?
Okay.
It should go to the department head. So A, the department head knows what's going on, and B, they disperse it to whoever can best fulfill the request.
So we can talk about, yeah, we'll
We're
just
getting a
talk
little
about
in
it.
depth for, you know.
Agenda setting.
Agenda setting,
Yeah.
you know, that's, tonight's main theme is agenda setting.
I totally agree. It's just that we'll be having capital requests will be coming up, so the information was needed, so I just wanted to know.
Oh, no, I'm just saying I don't want to get in deep discussion. Like if Marion says, let's work on the form, and you say, is there a way to do, you know what I mean? That's all related. But the fine details, we can even, once you make a request like that, even there, we can also get you the information and find out the best way to serve it. Where's that bell?
It's a Taco
It's
Bell.
fine.
It's a Taco Bell bell.
Advertisements for
Yeah.
clothing.
I have one more thing. So we don't, as far as I know, we don't have a cold weather plan in place for this year. I mean, it's March now, so it's, you know, we're hopefully exiting cold weather plan, but this has come up in my Bay State job over the past few weeks, and I've been, like, the mayor and I were conversing about it, and Joe Comerford and people from DHCD and Jen Hoffman. And so I don't know where that should go on an agenda, but I think it's really important.
CRC, probably.
It can.
I'm just saying it could be a
Are we talking
topic.
a cold weather plan for meetings or cold weather plan for the city?
People, for the city. So for people living
I
in
mean,
tents.
that's
Administrative.
that's administrative, but
Question is, do we want to legislate it? That's really the question,
The mayor
because
has her
that's
hand.
within
Mayor has her hand.
our purview.
we could set up a protocol that we vote in, but the execution would be, you know, the executive session. Mayor?
It is an administrative function, as far as I can determine. And it has been handled in many ways by default by Community and Economic Development, because that is the department that has the most contact with our social service agencies.
Within your administration, Community and Economic Development.
Yeah, right. The MJ's department. So there are plans for emergency cold weather situations come out of the fire department and so forth, but they are for these are those isolated ones and that have come up you know, very quickly because we've had major storms and drops in temperature and so forth. So there is a process that was developed by MJ with the social service agencies that are can handle this. The problems that Mary Ann has been seeing in her non-counselor professional job is are acute and very concerning, and are not, that are those things that kind of fall through the cracks, it seems like. So I'm not sure that the city has a function there, but it's certainly worth a discussion down the road. But
Mayor,
I don't know that it's anything that could be legislated per se. That's another, that would be in my view, almost a separate but related.
New business, I could be discussed.
It could be a
new business.
What I'm going to ask, Mayor, is you've requested MJ come and talk to us in March about the downtown revitalization. Could she give us a 5-minute update on that plan that you executed this winter? Because that would be a good place to tell us what the plan is that she's been following.
It could be less than 5 minutes. It could
Okay,
certainly,
perfect.
I mean, it's a bit of a sideways step from what she's there for, but I'm
No,
sure she'd
but
be
I-
happy to
Well, I
let
can-
everybody know.
Okay, she can pause from her first thing and then start a new subject within, I'll grant the time just to
Yeah.
get us an update.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I'll just let her know.
perfect.
That she's going to be asked about that too. But what I'm trying to convey is Councillor Bullock's not wrong. That there needs to be better coordination with our community service, our social service people. One of the rubs, I think, this year in particular is sort of the nature of the storms and how fast they come and how unpredictable they are. But also, more importantly, the fact that ServiceNet is in transition. So once CSO becomes more or less along with community CHD, the conduit for that type of thing, and the Salvation Army is involved as well, then I think we can come up with a more organized process for next winter.
Okay,
Believe me,
so,
we've been trying.
no, yep, so we'll have those 2 bullets on her report. And then the other thing that you might ask MJ is how the council can help in that development. If we can send it to CRC on some discussion level, we're willing to do that and have some input on the process for the community.
Sure. No, that's fine. I think
Okay.
that's a good thing.
And then it ties the 2 together. Anyone else with anything?
Move to adjourn.
Do I have a second on that?
Yes, second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. I'm adjourning the meeting at 6:33 PM.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Oh.